Hey there, and welcome to the Event Crushed podcast. Each week, we'll be chatting about all things wedding industry, entrepreneurship, and how to crush it in life and business. I'm so glad you're here. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Event Crushed, the podcast for wedding pros who are ready to crush it in life and business. I'm your host, Becky, and today we're diving into a topic that is very close to my heart, which is navigating motherhood and parenthood while building a thriving wedding business. In this episode, I'm joined by the incredible Oralia, owner of Dream Decorations in Northern California. She started her event decor business at just 19 years old and has grown it into a full-time career, all while raising her two daughters and supporting her husband's business as well. Now she's also mentoring fellow event decor professionals, sharing what she's learned over her many, many years in the industry. We're talking about what it really looks like to balance business and family, how to combat mom guilt, and why delegation and quality time are game changers for entrepreneurial parents. Oralia also shares her best productivity tips and a beautiful story about involving her kids in the business. If you've ever felt stretched thin or questioned how to do it all, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it. Okay, well, hello, Oralia. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here today. And we're going to be talking about a topic that I think is very near and dear to both of our hearts, which is parenting and motherhood, and also, being entrepreneurs and running a business in the midst of all of that. So I love this topic. I'm so excited to hear everything that you are going to bring to the table. And to start, I would love it if you could just introduce yourself to our listeners. And I'd love to just hear a bit about your backstory because I don't know a ton about it. And I would love to hear how you got started with your event decor business and all of that.
Okay, sounds good. So my name is Oralia and I'm owner of Dream Decorations in Northern California. And I started very young at 19. So it started with me and a few friends doing our best friend's wedding. So she had a vision. She wanted to have everything exactly done how she put it on a document, and we just recreated it. And then after that, one of the guests at her wedding said, "Oh, I want exactly the same." So we did it again. And then a friend of that one said wanted the same with different colors. So we did it again for a few friends and family. And then my friends decided to take on some other things that lasted about a year and a half. And then my friends decided to go on different things. I thought, well, I was full-time in school at that time. So I was like, yeah, this is something that I can do as a side job in quotes, because now I know it takes a long time to build it and it's just so much to do. But I thought it was a good idea to have it as a side job. And then I was going to be able to have extra money and things for school, et cetera, et cetera. And then after that, it has slowly been through many stages. So it was my part-time job. Then it went through all the business stages until now that it is my full-time job, like my main source of income.
Wow, that's amazing. And so tell me a little bit more about what you do exactly in terms of event decor. Like, is it like balloons? Tell me a bit more about the details of what you do.
It's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Mainly it is linen and decor, meaning like backdrops, balloons, silverware, plates, like everything that you need for decor in a wedding or a venue. And then the only thing that I won't do is natural flowers, because that in itself is a lot of work. But besides that, we do backdrops, draping, balloons, linen, all of that. Like I said, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So do you have a whole rental inventory then?
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, it has built over the years. It has built to be very big, but all the time there's new trends. So we try to get rid of the stuff that we don't need anymore and bring in new stuff. But we do have a whole inventory. And the only other thing that I don't do is tables and chairs. But other than that, we have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And then in addition to that, you are coaching those who do event decor as well. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I decided after the pandemic, I was looking for some other like-minded professionals to know what to do because none of us knew what to do when all the cancellations and postponements started. So I started a mastermind with just peers in the industry. And then found myself giving more information that I was getting and then getting presentations and giving classes. And I thought, yeah, this is amazing. I can share all those years of experience that I have, all that knowledge, I can share it with other professionals. So then that evolved into coaching and education. And that's one of the things that I'm pursuing. It's still kind of new to me, but it's still very fulfilling to know that all those years and all those mistakes, all those things that I learned that I can use that and give it to other decorators and professionals. Because I know there's a lot of educators, but there's not that many that is only for event decor or that is only for rentals, like linen rentals and things like that. So I think that all of that information that I've acquired through the years, I can now spread it with other professionals as well.
I love that. I think you're totally right. There are a lot of educators in the wedding and event industry, but like specifically for event decor, like I haven't seen a lot of that. So I think you're definitely tapping into a great market there and a lot of potential. And I totally relate. I mean, I just within the last year, finally, after thinking about it and talking about it forever, like officially launched a mentorship for new and aspiring wedding planners. And it has, similar to you, like it's been so fulfilling and rewarding to get to pour into those women just because it's like we all started somewhere, and just having that little bit of extra support in the beginning, I think can make such a huge difference down the road for people. So yeah, I think that is fantastic. And so, okay, well, I know that we are both moms and we have kiddos that are very close in age, which I just realized, or you reminded me recently that we were in a Facebook group together for March 2013 moms. And so we both have kiddos that are about to turn 12, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that it's been 12 years and then that we're about to hit one very important stage in their lives.
Right. I know. It's so crazy. I'm still trying to comprehend it. I don't know how I have an almost 12-year-old and the official preteen, and then pretty soon we're going to have teenagers. It's wild, but it's also a very fun age. And yeah. And then you also, how old is your other one?
My youngest is 7. She's about to turn 8. She's a March baby as well.
Yes, which is so fun because both of mine are March babies as well. And my younger will be 9. So yay for all the March babies.
Yes.
So did you start your business before having kids, or did you have kids and then you started your business?
It was before. So I started at 19. And then I had my first one at 27. So I was well into the business when my first one was born. But however, so my business started, and it was, like I said, it was kind of like a side gig, a part-time job, and very slowly went into grew very, very, very slowly, I say, because I had a full-time job for many years. So that was my priority. My full-time office job was my priority. And then when my oldest was born, I started to see the difference. I have a full-time business, I have a full-time job, I have the business, and then now I'm a mom. So it was a little bit of an adjusting period there. And then when we thought I wasn't even pregnant. So when we were thinking about bringing another baby to the family, I thought, well, I am already spreading thin as it is. So I'm going to take a break from my office job because that was my original plan. I'm only going to take a break. I'm going to get pregnant and then I'm going to go back to work when the baby is 1. So that was my plan. But then I started just putting all my effort and energy into the business, and then it boomed because I was working on my business and in my business. So then it boomed, and then I have never gone back. And my youngest is now 7.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just always interesting to hear because you had, kind of established your business before having kids. For me, it coincided. I was pregnant when I started my business. And so that's all I've ever known is having babies and kids and running a business. So I would love to hear from you, like, how has parenthood shaped your approach to running a business?
Oh, it's much more different because before the girls came, before my first one was born, I was very into my job, my full-time job, and then my business. So that was the only two most important things, and my husband, because I got married pretty young too. So then it was like, okay, I was only like on my 20s. I think I was working all the time. And then the baby comes and then it switched right away. So then it's all baby stuff all the time. And then the other stuff took a little bit of time, like I said, to adjust. But yeah, I think that at the beginning, it was a little bit of adjusting period. And then I believe every couple of years, there's a change into our routines and into how the business comes along into our household. And then my husband is a business owner as well. So then his business came in and we had to readjust everything. And even though his business is newer, we knew that there was going to be a readjustment. I think that there's like every couple of years, every 2 to 4 years, there's a readjusting period of everything. But the biggest ones obviously have been when the girls came.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, gosh, we have a lot in common because my husband also has his own business. What does your husband do?
He does construction.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah. I don't know too many people who, it's like both parents have their own businesses. So it's always fun to meet others who are in that situation.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of unique because I think that it gives a certain approach to how we manage our businesses. Now, knowing that everything that we do work related is up to us. So it was an adjustment as well to go like from him to go from working for somebody else to open his business. There was a period of time where we had to adjust as well.
Definitely. Yeah. And I completely agree with you in the sense of, every few years having an adjustment period. Because even, it can be stuff going on in life, but also just like our kids as they get older, they change so much in such a short amount of time. So it's like you get used to something, especially like when they're really little, when they're babies, it's like, oh, they're finally sleeping through the night. And then it's like, nope, just kidding. Now it's this new thing. Yeah. And they're just constantly evolving. And so I think that's something really important to remember, just like as parents, is getting used to like just being flexible and knowing that things are just constantly going to change as our kids get older, like as we're, getting close to the teen years, and just how different that is now compared to like when we had toddlers. Like it's just a very different world.
Yes, yeah. And I think also one of the other things that changes is that besides they grow overnight and then there's different things. There's a lot of things that are like in our industry, our work is seasonal. So we have to go by seasons as well. So it's not the same to run the business in summer when they're out of school that when they're like in spring or fall where it's like full-time school. So definitely, we have to be flexible. Definitely, there is an adjustment period. And we have to be less of perfectionists in that sense. Like to take time to pivot whatever is going on in life and in business because they need it. And we need it for our sanity as well.
Yes, very true. So something I wanted to ask you, just because I feel like this is kind of a topic that comes up a lot, not just as business owners, but like any mom. Well, I don't know if it's just moms or like if dads feel this too, but you always hear it called like mom guilt.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's more specific to moms, but maybe there's just like general parent guilt too. But what do you do? Like if you start feeling that mom guilt creeping in, how do you deal with that? I guess just because I feel like as a business owner, we're trying to balance a lot. And so it's maybe we don't always feel like we're able to give our kids the 100% attention that we want to. So I'm just curious, how do you deal with that mom guilt if it starts to creep in?
I definitely feel that there's parent guilt in general, but I definitely feel that moms tend to have it a little bit more. I mentioned to my husband sometimes that when he goes to work, his mind is all work. When I go to work, is work, kids. I have to be like a schedule, like everything is on my mind. It's not only about work. We have all other things in our minds. And it's not that dads don't have that, but I believe that women are more prone to be able to multitask and to be able to think about all those things. So it is different in that sense. I think that's why we tend to have more women, like more mom guilt than dad guilt. But in my case, what I try to do is quality time. So I understand, like, for example, on the days that we have events, I know that I'm going to be working 8 to 14-hour days. So this is the wedding day or the quinceañera day. So I know that I'm going to be there early. And then I do have, like, as a decorator, I have a break, but then I have to go for the strike down at midnight sometimes. So I know that those are long days. And one of the things that I do is definitely quality time with my family and my kids. So I think it weighs more to have 2 hours of me not working, no laptops, no phones, and then putting all my attention into what they want to do, whether it's going to the park, watching a movie, playing games, whatever they feel like. That if I'm trying to send emails and answer phone calls and watching TV with them at the same time, like if I'm trying to multitask and do everything at the same time, I know that there's somebody's feelings are going to be hurt, and might be the kids, might be mine because of the mom guilt. So what I try to do is quality time, definitely. And even in the business, if I'm working, then I try to work when I know that if it is only a couple of hours, I have to put all my attention into the work. So I know that my kids are well taken care of, or if either that at school, and then I don't have to be thinking about that. That sometimes, there's when our schedules overlap and then I'm thinking about the kids sometimes, it doesn't mean that I'm ignoring them. It just means that I'm trying to be that put all my attention into work. But it's definitely one of the things. And also to have a defined work schedule. And for some people, it might look like, okay, I can only work from this time to this time and these days. And for some other ones, it's like, okay, I'm going to do time blocks. But like I said, it's quality time. If I'm working in my business, it's quality time in my business. If I am spending time with my family and my children, then I'm not going to be thinking or doing things for work.
Definitely. That is really, really well said. And I think that you hit the nail on the head with quality time. It's so important. And I think that even if it's like we're only able to give our kids our undivided attention for this quality time for, a certain number of hours, a certain number of minutes. But if it's like dedicated quality time where we're not being distracted, like you said, I just think that is so much more impactful for them. And the times when I have been like sitting there, maybe we're watching a show or doing something, but then I'm over here on my phone, like checking a new email that just came in, they can tell. And like they can, they're pretty aware that like, oh, my mom's not fully invested in what we're doing here right now. And that just, I think, like spoils it for them and makes it not super enjoyable. And so I think when we really can just give them that undivided attention, quality time, it's huge. And I am, as far as like love languages go, I don't know if you are familiar with love languages, but quality time is mine. And I have a feeling that it's my kids, like both of my kids as well, because I see such a difference in them when like we do get to have that time together. We try to go on, we call them like mommy daughter dates at least once a month, where we just go like spend, the whole afternoon together and do whatever they want. And I cherish that time because it's it's just really special. And it's important for my kids too, to have like one-on-one time with me when they're trying to share me. Sometimes that can be a little tricky. So it's like really important that we get that one-on-one time too.
Yes. Yeah. We do the same here too. And I think we do have a lot in common. My love language is quality time too. I don't know about my kids. I think that theirs is different, but they do value when we are one-on-one. And I think that they also, depending on how I go into that quality time, it sets the tone. Like if I go in stressed because I'm thinking about something work related or anything, they kind of sense it. So it is also, I have learned to like leave those things aside when I'm with them, because I think that they sense everything. So it sets the tone of how we're spending the quality time. Even if I'm not doing anything on my phone or laptop, they can sense that, oh, something like she's not here like her mind is not here. So I think that's one of the other things that I try to do as well. I'm not able to do it like 100% of the time, but I try to very, very hard.
Yeah. And it does take a lot of intention. Like, I think if we weren't, because like I have to try too, like it's not something that just maybe comes super naturally all the time, because if it was up to me, like I probably would just grab my phone and start doing something. And I do have to be really intentional and protect that time. And it's like, no, this is family time. And I don't think anyone should feel bad about having to work at it a little bit, because like we all love our businesses, we all love our kids, we love our families, and we just have to be able to focus on what's right in front of us. And so that's what I think is important. And that's what you're saying is like, being able to fully focus on what is right in front of you, whether that's your family or that's work. I think that's the secret.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Okay. So another question that I have for you, because I understand that maybe you have some expertise in productivity hacks. And so I kind of thought that would tie in with this conversation too. So I'd love to hear, what are some of your go-to productivity hacks for us busy parents who are also balancing a wedding business?
Yeah. So I try to do, because I'm a mom, but also because at one time I was balancing a full-time job and then the business. I try to do as much as I could, as faster as I could. And I know that sometimes that is not possible, because there are things that you just need to take time to complete them. But I try to make sure that it is done well, but it's done fast. So one of the things that I do is time management. And I think that's one of the things that parents in general have more difficulty with. So I try to there's many techniques, and I'm going to mention a few, but there's many techniques. You have to find the technique that works for you and then apply it to your business and to your schedule. So whether it's time blocking, like I mentioned before, like if you have 2 hours to work, but then those 2 hours, you put all 100% of your energy into that. So that way, when you have to cook or clean or pick up kids from school, then you do time blocks for that as well. So that way they're not overlapping, and you're not trying to do something more or something from home, and then it is all a mess, and then you get stressed because everything is one thing after another. So time blocking is one of the time management techniques. And then the Pomodoro technique, where you work 25 minutes and then rest for 5. And resting is not like, I'm going to wash the dishes or I'm going to put laundry. It's like resting, like either your stillness or meditation, or just like look at your phone if you're going to do something like for fun. But that actually works. And you can do like 25 minutes and 5, 50 and 10, whatever works for you. But that's one of the other ones. Making to-do list is that one of the things that I do all the time, like almost every single day, because I think that when you visually see what you have to do, it makes kind of your brains look at the list, and then you can pick out the things that are more important. So I think that's one of the things that I also do almost every day with family and with work, both of the things. And also, like, people tell moms all the time, like, when the baby sleeps, you sleep. So it's like when the kids are busy, then you work, because when you know that the kids are busy, like, for example, if they go to school, when they go to school is when you try to work, because you can put all your concentration and energy into work. Whether if you're working from home, or like if you have an office, but then you're thinking about what your children are doing, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So I think that the same as like when they tell young mothers, when the baby sleeps, you sleep, is like when the kids are busy, then that's where you work. And then you get to decide. And that's one of the beauties of being a business owner, that you get to decide when are those times. You can choose what works best for you. And what I tell my students a lot of the time is that when you pick a time management technique, it doesn't mean that you have to pick that one for everything. Different tasks will be better with different techniques. So you have to check. And it's kind of a trial and error that you have to do in order to find those techniques, depending on what you do. But then it creates the habit, which is the hardest part to do, like to creating that habit of being in connection with yourself to know what it needs to be done. With that said, like having a work schedule as well. And I don't mean like I'm working 9 to 3 or like not as specifically hours. But for example, what I do in my business is like for me, Mondays are cleaning and organization days because I know that I have rentals that are coming back, or that if we had a decoration, then those days I use to put everything back and to clean everything. On Tuesdays, and I see clients, I do administration stuff, bookkeeping if I have time, like stuff that are like only computer related or admin stuff. On Wednesdays, I do presentations or like things with my students or like coaching and educational stuff. So sometimes it is like going by day, and it doesn't have to be the whole day. It can be a time block in that day. So when you know that you have, okay, today is, because sometimes we don't even know what day it is. So then you can say like, oh, okay, today is Thursday, social media day, then I know what to work. So then there's less waste of time. And one of the big ones as well is delegating. Like I know there's a lot of event professionals that are solopreneurs, meaning like they're their only owner, but you can still delegate a lot of things. You can still find ways into whether it's a software, a person, a BA, something or somebody that helps your business. You can delegate a lot of the stuff, especially if it's something that is very hard for you, whatever it is that is in your business. Like if you know that bookkeeping is dreadful for you, then hire a bookkeeper. If you know that you have tons of emails that you don't want to respond, or that you don't have to sit down to know which one is important, which one is not, then hire a BA. Nowadays, there's so many apps and there's so many softwares, and there's a lot of things that you can do with those programs and not necessarily hire somebody to do those tasks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So many great tips right there. I loved that you mentioned delegating because I completely agree with you. That's a huge one. And I do feel like too with Chat GPT now, like I've been using it so much for my business, and I feel like it is like, it's honestly like helped to take things off my plate that used to feel really like time consuming, or like I didn't want to do them. And I'm finding that I'm able to like integrate this into my workflow, and now it's helped a ton. And I'm actually going to bring on an expert to talk about ChatGPT and how wedding pros can use it in their businesses, because I've found that it's just been like such a game changer for me. So I love that. I also have a VA that helps with blogging because I just do not enjoy blogging. And so she has been able to take that off my plate and help me, get consistent blog posts out, which has been fantastic. So yes, one way or another, like there is a way to delegate. It doesn't mean that you need to spend a ton of money. It doesn't mean that you need to go out and hire somebody. Like there are programs like you mentioned and software and all kinds of different things that can just help to take things off of our plates. And maybe it's something for our homes too. Like I'm not in this position, but like I dream about the day when I can hire like a housekeeper to come, clean my house every week. Like that's something that I would love to delegate.
Yes. Yeah.
Eventually. So like it doesn't even have to be business stuff. Like there's things we can delegate just in our own private, like personal lives to help run our household, and then allowing us to have more time with our family and more times in our business.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because it's not only about the business, it's also delegation at your house. Like for people that have older kids, you can delegate house chores easily. And not only it teaches them about the responsibilities, and it takes a lot of you as a mom or as a dad to do stuff, but it's just like, okay, that's what I tell my kids sometimes. I'm not the only one living here, so I shouldn't be the only one cleaning, organizing, or doing stuff. So I think that is a lot of delegation that can happen at home as well. And it can be simple stuff. Like sometimes the very simple things are the ones that help you the most and that take the stress off of your workload or your home task load, whatever you need to do. So I think that especially like if you have a spouse or a partner, I think that a lot of the delegation can be done to them. And it helps a lot. It helps a lot to delegate small things to other people at your house. I think that is a game changer.
Yes. No, I'm so glad you said that. Cause I'm talking about like, over here hiring a housekeeper, but my kids do a ton of chores. Like sometimes I'm like, are we giving them too much chores, but I think it's actually really valuable for character building and for them to just like be able to do things on their own, because someday they're going to move out and be on their own. And so like my kids do their own laundry. They unload and load the dishwasher. They've had chores for several years, but this year we got kind of more serious about it and added on to it to just give them like more responsibility, because like you said, we're all living in the house and like they know, hey, my parents are business owners who work from their home office. And so anyways, it's been really good for our family to like add extra responsibility for our kids, and they've been really great about it. And yes, so you're completely right. We can delegate to our own family members as well. Yes. And then the one other thing I wanted to touch on that you mentioned was just the idea that like when our kids are busy, that's when we can work. And I love that because it's been interesting because other than like early mornings, I work every weekday, like really early in the mornings for like 3 hours before my kids wake up. So then we do homeschool. So for me, it's like I'm not able to work when my kids are off at school because they're doing that with me at home. However, when their friends get out of school, our neighbors, they like to go for the afternoons and like go over to the neighbor's house and play. And sometimes they'll be over there for a couple hours. And so I've found myself using that time because I'm like, whoa, like nobody's here. I guess I can work right now. So it's been really nice for me, and it's different. And I find, like we were talking earlier about how the seasons change, and with my kids getting older, it's like they, want to spend more time with friends now. And so it's like, okay, well, they're good. I'm going to sit down and do some work. So that was a good reminder too.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't have to be, I think that sometimes we think that it has to be like a whole afternoon or a whole day. Sometimes if your kids go to dance or they have a sport or they do any extracurricular activity where you have at least 45 minutes, you can respond to emails, you can work on Canva, you can work on social media. There's so many things that you can do that it's not necessarily a big chunk of time. It's just, like I said, one of the things that I try to do is as much as I can do in the less time possible, because time is something very valuable. You never get it back. So as long as you spend it well, and then that you know that is being productive, then you can use 40 minutes, an hour and a half. Many of us that have children drive them all the time and where we have to stay places. So if you have those few minutes to work, then they're busy. You don't have to take care of them. Sometimes you're there just to watch them.
Yes. Yeah, it's so true. I want to ask you, what advice would you give to parents who are listening who maybe are just feeling overwhelmed about like balancing? Maybe they have a baby at home. Maybe they have young kids and toddlers and they're trying to run this business and grow it, but they're also raising little kids, or maybe they have teenagers. I mean, who knows? But what advice would you give to those parents out there?
So I think that's where delegation comes into place. Like, you don't have to do it all. You don't have to do everything yourself, not in your business, not at your house. So delegating is a big thing. And also knowing what it's needed from you that nobody else can do. Like, what do you have to do in your business and at home that nobody else can do? And I think that's one of the big things, that once you identify the things that you need to do in both of those things, it's easier for you to let go of control. Because I think that a lot of us in the event industry, it's not that we're control freaks or perfectionists, but because we only have one chance to do our job incredible. There's no or very, very little room for mistakes. That translates to sometimes the way that we manage our business, that like we don't do mistakes either, because we're used to only having one day to do a wedding, only having one day to do a party or an event. So I think that's where it comes from. But you don't have to do it all. So there's a lot of delegation that you can do. But there's some other things that, like, your business needs your essence. Your branding needs to know, like, whatever you do in your business, it needs to come from you as a person. So whatever needs your essence, then you do it. Everything else you can delegate. And at home, there's very important things. And on that, you can check the personality of your children. And if you have a partner, the personality of your partner. If your family values that you put your kids to bed, like if you have tiny kids, then take time to do that. Like if that's a priority, take time to do that. But if they don't mind, then some other people can do it, like a dad or a partner. And then another thing that also I want to mention is that it doesn't have to be like when we talk a lot about work-life balance, it's not that it's 50-50. It's that sometimes you're going to work more in your business, but sometimes you're going to be more present at home. And because our job is seasonal, or the things that we do are seasonal, that means, like, for example, in my family, they know that summers and fall is busy. So they might not see a lot of me, or when they do, it's like, okay, it's quality time. Like we only have a stretch of time to do whatever it needs to be done. So because of that is also one of the things that I recommend, that you check that our job is seasonal. And then when you can give it your all at work, then you do it. But when you can give it all your all at home, then that's when you pour in, and that's when you get good results with your family.
Yeah, I love that. You're right. We only have this one chance to get the event right or the wedding right. It was funny when you're saying, you're like, we're not all control freaks. And I was like, no, I really am a control freak. No, but it's because of what you said, because we have this one chance to get it right.
Yeah.
But no, that is a great point. And back to the delegation, and just that we feel like I'm the only one who can do this, but it's like, no, there's a bunch of other people who could probably do it just as well, maybe even better.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's like, we're not willing to let it go, so if we can just open our minds to like think about that possibility, I think that can make a big difference for sure.
Yes.
Can you share a moment where you were just like winning at both parenting and business? I would love to hear if you have like a positive story about that.
Yeah. So it happened very recently. So in January, I do this every year. We go to an expo that is only for quinceañeras, and because a lot of my clients are Hispanic. So I do a lot of quinceañeras. Usually my husband brings my children just to see like the space, and they have like fashion show. So my kids, they're girls, so they like to see the dresses, all the pretty stuff. So they just come for fun. But then it's been a couple of years where I've taken my oldest to work, like to actually work. And usually that means passing out business cards and like setting up stuff. That's it. But then this year it was the first time where she talked to clients, like where she approached people and she was talking to them and letting them know about what we do. And then that was one of the things that it was remarkable for me, that she said, we do decorations, we do backdrops. Like she included herself, because sometimes I do take her to work. So when I saw her talking to people, and talking to people in general it can be very nerve-wracking. So I cannot imagine my 11-year-old self trying to sell something to an adult. Like that's a big thing. Yeah. So when I saw her, it was like very, very amazing to see her, how evolved she is into talking to like public speaking, like to talk to somebody, to let them know. Like I said, when she included herself in the family business, because she is part of it, she does help me. And then my youngest helps me as well. Like sometimes she likes to iron napkins or like to fold them, things like that, like small chores. So I think that when they see the value that our business brings to our family, that is not only a job, that we're building a legacy, that we're building something really nice here, and then they can take it into their own. That was a very proud moment for me as a mom. And then to see that she was happy doing it. And she has mentioned a few times now, we're at that age when people ask her all the time what she wants to do when she's older. And then she wants to have a doggy hotel. And then she tells us their story. And like, if you hear it, a lot of people can say like, oh, that's impossible. Or like, that's going to take a lot of things. But in her mind, this is an accomplishment that can be done because she has seen it at home. So I think that is one of the moments that I saw, okay, my business is not only helping me as a mom to be present in my kids' life, but they can see that the hard work that my husband and I both put into our businesses. They can see that it is possible to do things. Like sometimes I still cannot believe that I'm able to earn a living by making parties pretty and lavish. Like sometimes, like if I say that to some people, they're like, well, that's really a job. It's like, it is. And it's very fun. So I think that last month, it was very, very nice to see my children involved in the business. And to be able that at that age, they're more involved than I ever was. So that was amazing for me.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. That is a beautiful story and super encouraging to hear. And I'm sure you were just so proud of your daughter to be, like you said, like talking with adults about what you guys do and like selling. And that's so cool. I love that. This is not quite the same thing, but we were at a open house for this local homeschool co-op last week, and they were talking about how a lot of the parents will teach classes on different things. And I had Addie with me, my almost 12-year-old, and she looked at me and she was like, Mom, you should teach a class. And I was like, oh, really? Like, you think I should teach? Like, what would I teach on? And she's like, well, you could do like wedding planning, or you could do a class on entrepreneurship. And she got all excited about it. And I was like, oh, that's cool that like she thinks that I could teach a bunch of homeschoolers. So that was just fun. I appreciated her insight on that.
Yeah, they definitely see everything that we do, that is not only a job for us, that it is a way of living, but also that we built it from scratch. Because sometimes my youngest is the one that asks me, how old were you when you started a business, and why you started and what happened? She asked me a lot of questions. And then a few times she has said like, I'm very happy that you have the business so you can be home. So that is one of the things that I value as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so sweet. I love that. And I'm with you. Like sometimes when I think about what I do for a living too, I literally will still like want to pinch myself because I'm like, I don't know how I get to plan and, make beautiful weddings for a living and work with these amazing couples and get paid. Like it's very, very cool. And not a day goes by that I don't like realize like how cool it is. So we are very blessed. And okay, well, gosh, there were so many more questions. So maybe you can come back on sometime and we'll talk more about all of this. But I feel like we ended it on a really positive, encouraging note. So hopefully that will just be a great encouragement to listeners. So speaking of listeners, where can everyone find you and learn more about what you do?
Okay, so Instagram is the easiest because I'm on there all the time. So my handle is my first name, Oralia, ORALIA.AE. And then my website is under construction right now, but it will be launching pretty soon. That's my full name, OraliaAguirre.com. And then if you want to see about my business, that's Dream Decorations in Sacramento. You can look it up, or you can just search it and it will pop up. But if you're in Northern California, or even if you're not, sometimes we get inspired by other vendors, other businesses. So those are the ways that you guys can find me.
Amazing. And I will include all of that in the show notes, of course, as well. So, all right, Oralia, well, this was so great. I really appreciate you coming on and just, it was awesome conversation. And I really would love to have you come back sometime.
Yes. Yeah, I will love it. It was amazing. I'm always willing to talk about motherhood and all those things, because I think that's one side of the business that we barely hear about.
I know. I completely agree. All righty. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Event Crushed podcast. I hope you found value in this episode, and if you did, please consider sharing it with a wedding industry friend. We also hope you'll consider leaving a rating or review for the show to help other listeners find it. This podcast is edited and produced by Ace Sound Design. If you're looking to elevate your audio experience, their info can be found in the show description. As always, thank you for listening, and please connect with us on Instagram if you haven't already. Now get out there and crush it.